Well, we've had a few weeks of good rains now, but it's really not time to quit talking about drought. Derrell Peel, our livestock marketing specialist. Derrell, here in Oklahoma, we do still have some drought concerns.
That's exactly right. You know, we've seen a lot of improvement in sort of the eastern two-thirds of the state. Certainly in the last couple of weeks, we've had some very heavy rains that have not only given us moisture to replenish, soil moisture, as well, but also we've had the kind of rains that have really recharged surface water in most places. Our ponds are filled back up in an awful lot of that area. Nevertheless, you know, the western third of the state is still in very serious drought. They've not received most of these rains. And, if you look at the drought monitor the last couple of weeks, the most serious drought conditions really haven't changed very much because they're in that area that has not shared in this so far.
All right, now what about the U.S. picture?
You know, it's kind of the same story in the U.S. I mean, the drought that was there, say, 3 or 4 months ago has moved farther west, much like in Oklahoma. Eastern Kansas, eastern Nebraska are in somewhat better shape. The drought has been pushed farther west and a little bit more to the southwest. If you look across the states, clearly it's New Mexico that's bearing the brunt of the worst conditions now. Those extend up into southeastern Colorado, western Kansas, and up into southwestern and western Nebraska.
Okay, so all that in mind, how does the forage and hay picture look as we head into summer?
Well, I think, in terms of moisture conditions, we're improved. We've got more potential now, but we really haven't had the warm weather even yet, even though we haven't had the unusually cold weather that we had, but the cooler weather has continued. And so we really haven't seen forage growth yet. I think we're probably behind on both hay and pasture production in the areas where we rely on our warm season, particularly introduced pastures. Obviously, range conditions, pasture conditions are still very severe in those drought areas. New Mexico, for example, 92% of the entire state range areas are in poor to very poor condition right now. So we still have some serious forage challenges. I think on a nationwide basis, we're probably lagging a bit behind on hay production. And as we know, we had very tight hay stocks from the drought the last 2 years. So, we probably got a ways to go yet to recover that normal forage pipeline that we would normally have in this country.
What does that do for the markets then as we head into the summer?
Well, cattle markets right now are kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do seasonally. Summertime is usually a little bit softer time for both fed cattle and feeder cattle. Well, feeder cattle sometimes actually pick up in the summer, and we haven't seen that really happen yet. It may be just beginning to see the feeder cattle market pick up a little bit after the defensive mode it's been in for the last 2 or 3 months. Fed cattle are kind of just hanging in there right now, which is pretty good for this time of the year. We're near the seasonal peaks in slaughter. The box beef market, which set new records right before Memorial Day, it's come down a little bit as expected, but it's still holding up pretty well at this point.
All right, good information as always. Derrell Peel, livestock marketing specialist here at Oklahoma State University.